If you've been stuck in the lower ranks and want to climb out as quick as possible, this video is for you. Today, we'll be breaking down 3 champions for every single role that are on another level when it comes down to helping you climb low elo the fastest. But before we get into it, be sure to check out SkillCapped if you want to truly get better at League of Legends. We're the only service that offers a money-back guarantee if you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using our service. We do this because our service really does work, and if it doesn't work for you, you shouldn't pay. Learn more at the end of this video or click the link in the description below. A top lane champion who's become even better for low elo as of recent and a great add to your champion pool is Nasus. Nasus is the perfect low elo pick because he has very defined power spikes and you can look to execute on a simple game plan each and every game. It's no secret that the early levels can be a bit of a grind on Nasus, but if you can play safe until level 6, that's where you can really surprise the enemy with your all-in power. Don't be afraid of using your teleport back to lane early on. Play for yourself. You should never be using teleport bot lane pre-6, as that's just not how you're going to consistently carry on Nasus. One of the best parts about Nasus is that since you have to play safer pre-6, you'll lull the enemy into a false sense of security that they can just do whatever they want in lane. This plays into your hands extremely well because if they continue to disrespect you once you got 6, you punish them immediately. If the enemy walks up to the wave and just wastes all their abilities to shove it out, you pop Ghost and R and run them down. So if you can really hone in on that game plan of playing safer pre-6, solely focusing on getting Q stacks whenever you can, and then looking to strike post-6, you'll find good consistent results on Nasus. The build for Nasus is a Divine Sunder Rush into Frozen Heart 2nd and a situational tank item 3rd. You want Fleet Footwork for the Keystone Rune with Triumph, Tenacity, and Last Stand. Second Wind and Unflinching are the optimal secondaries. Low elo games are notorious for dragging out and lasting longer than high elo games. In turn, this makes champions with innate scaling capabilities much more powerful for the lower ranks, giving someone like Dr. Mundo a ton of strength. With Mundo, you're rushing Heart Steel, which is an item that has an infinitely scaling passive. Mundo E provides him bonus AD that scales off his max health, so by purchasing tank items, you're not only going to become unkillable, but your damage output will be incredible as well. That Heart Steel spike is really what you want to be playing for on Mundo, looking to push the advantage once you got it. If you can focus on your farm and out CS the enemy laner to where you can hit your mythic item before they do, it opens things up for you to completely take over in the 1v1. Complete build for Mundo is a Heart Steel Rush into Sunfire Aegis 2nd and Spirit Visage 3rd. Rune page consists of Grasp with Demolish, Second Wind, and Overgrowth, followed by Magical Footwear and Approach Velocity for secondaries. One top lane champion who has been a consistently powerful low elo pick throughout all of Season 13 is Garen. Garen is one of those stat check champions to where if you get ahead of your opponent, there's absolutely nothing they can do to beat you in the 1v1. Something that plagues a lot of low elo players is that when they get leads on more mechanically intensive champions, they have a much more difficult time closing out games and just throw those leads away time and time again. With Garen, it's not impossible to throw a lead, but it's way less likely due to the fact all of his damage is point and click. If you're playing around your R cooldown, 1v1 power of the champion is insanely good, and with some basic fundamentals of punishing enemies when they waste spells for last hits, finding those windows to all in isn't all that difficult. If the enemy tries clearing out the wave and uses all their spells, don't be afraid to just flash on their face if you have your R up. A Garen with Flash has some of the best ability for any top lane champion to punish enemy mistakes because his combo is near foolproof to pull off. Core build for Garen that will work in the majority of your games is a Stridebreaker Rush into Hullbreaker 2nd and Deadman's Plate 3rd. Phase Rush is the Keystone Rune, followed by Nimbus Cloak, Celerity, and Gathering Storm. Optimal secondaries are Conditioning and Overgrowth. A new jungler that is charged onto the scene and now a phenomenal low elo pickup is Morgana. Riot buffed Morgana's W damage to monsters 2 patches in a row, which has pushed her over the top as one of the most reliable low elo junglers. Morgana's jungle clear is very easy to execute, and you should be planning to full clear in most of your games. This is one of the easiest ways to gain an advantage on the enemy jungler. Staying ahead in tempo by clearing your camps on respawn and hitting level 6 way earlier than the enemy jungler will open up so many windows of opportunity once you get to 6. Morgana's W allows you to clear camps extremely quickly, so you're able to hit that level 6 faster than most junglers. As a jungler, it can often feel like you have too many options and that you need to be in 3 places at once, but with Morgana, you just nail down your clear, speed run to the level 6, and begin taking over from then on out. Our challenger jungler BMX Specs has a new full game commentary for Morgana jungle on our website if you're looking to pick her up. The core build you should be running revolves around a Liandry's Rush into Zanya 2nd and Rylai's 3rd. Dark Harvest is the optimal Keystone Rune with Cheap Shot, Eyeball Collection, and Relentless Hunter. Roll with Free Boots and Cosmic Insight for secondaries. A jungler who plays very similarly to Morgana and another really great low elo jungle pickup is Shyvana. With Shyvana, you want to play things very chilled and laid back. You're not trying to force anything early on. It's just full clear and react accordingly after the clear. Once you've full cleared, if there's no easy easy gank opportunities, you just grab a reset, head back to where your camps are spawning, and begin another full clear. At level 6, it's extremely easy for Shyvana to solo dragon, so that should be your main priority in a lot of games. Just make sure you've got a sweeper or control ward so that you know it's not warded, and keep tabs on your lanes to know if you need to retreat. In the lower ranks, players tend to be a lot less aware of dragon, which makes Shyvana a really great pick because she can just take them on respawn, start stacking to that dragon soul, and give her team a ton of bonus stats for free. The scaling power of Shyvana is completely insane as well, as your E in dragon form deals ludicrous damage with a couple items, which makes her amazing for low elo where games last longer. Shyvana's core build is a Nashor's Tooth Rush into Night Harvester 2nd and Rabadon's 3rd. Dark Harvest is the best keystone rune with Sudden Impact, Eyeball Collection, and Treasure Hunter. Grab Transcendence and Gathering Storm for secondaries. Our first two jungle recommendations were both magic damage champions, so having a physical damage pick like Nocturne is a great idea as well. If you spam these three champions in the jungle right now, just pivoting around based on what your team needs, it's a great recipe for success. Of all three champions, Nocturne definitely has the most defined and powerful spike at his level 6. The biggest thing you need to focus on with Nocturne is where your first ultimate is going to be allocated. Even before you get into the game, you should already have a plan as to where you think your first R will be best used. You never want to waste that first Nocturne R, as it's imperative to get the ball rolling, so really analyze things in the loading screen. The lane that has the most amount of CC is generally the lane that you should be planning to gank for. Like Morgan Shyvana, pre-6 is fairly straightforward, which makes Noc a great low elo champ. Full clearing should be your game plan most of the time, as you want to be hitting level 6 as soon as you can. Build for Noc is a Stridebreaker Rush into Black Cleaver 2nd and Death's Dance or Maw 3rd. Lethal Tempo is the keystone rune with Triumph, Alacrity, and Coup de Grace. Eyeball Collection and Ultimate Hunter are the way to go for secondaries. A mid lane champion that we've had rated very highly on the tier list for a while now, and who our challenger mid laner Shori agrees is exceptionally strong for the lower ranks, is Naafiri. When it comes down to that scaling AD assassin, there's nobody better than Naafiri right now. Naafiri may not have the same kind of early game impact as someone like Talon, but the late game impact is far superior, which is much more valuable in a good low elo champion. Mechanically, Naafiri's Q is the only skill shot in her kit, which means if you get ahead, it's way easier to extend that lead and eliminate throws compared to other assassins like Zed or Akali. Naafiri has some of the most ridiculous catch power for any assassin, and in the lower ranks, players are always out of position, which gives her a ton of strength. If you can really get in the hang of looking for flank angles with Naafiri, positioning in the fog of war, and being patient, you're going to see incredible results on her. Shori's new full game commentary on Naafiri is a great resource to help you out if you're looking to pick up the champ. Core build to run on Naafiri is an Eclipse Rush into Black Cleaver or Axiom Arc 2nd and Cyrilda's Grudge 3rd. Into a heavy squishy comp, Axiom Arc works great, but into more bruisers or tanks, Black Cleaver is the play. For the rune page, you can run either First Strike or Comet. First Strike is great in melee matchups, while Comet will suit you better against ranged champions. A mid lane champion who's been a ticket out of low elo for the majority of Season 13 is Aurelion Sol. Aurelion Sol scales better than 95% of mid lane champions, which makes him a phenomenal low elo pick. It's really just the early levels to where Aurelion struggles, but in low elo, players are way less likely to punish this weaker early game, which makes Sol a very reliable low elo pick. You can just focus up on your farm, aim to hit at least 80 CS by 10 minutes, and if you can do that consistently, get 2 or 3 items, you're going to put yourself in a position to make a considerable impact on each and every game. The build that you'll be working towards is a Rylai's Rush into Liandry's 2nd and Archangel's 3rd. Keystone rune is Comet with Mana Flow, Transcendence, and Gathering Storm, followed by Freeboots and Minion Dematerializer for secondaries. If all you care about is climbing from mid lane as quick as possible, start spamming Malzahar. Malz is a mid lane champion with very defined power spikes, which makes him very easy to pick up. Pre-6, all you're looking to do is collect as much farm as you can. There's literally no reason to trade early on with Malz unless you have your Mana Flow band stack available. You want to start the game off with a Mana Crystal and refillable potion. This way you can cheat your Lost Chapter buy much quicker to begin hard shoving waves and acquiring mid priority. As soon as you can buy the Lost Chapter, you should either be trying to hard shove in base, or if you're running low on mana, just base and TP back to lane. Using teleport early on to help stabilize your lane is very important on Malz, as there's no point to save it if it means losing out on farm. At level 6, you should ping your jungler to gank or look to play with your jungler if they are wanting to force a gank top or bot. Level 6 onwards, it's all about hard shoving and looking for opportunities whenever R is available. When R is down, you have to be playing more reserved, as it's such a big tool in helping Malz win skirmishes. The complete core build is a Liandry's Rush into Rylai's 2nd and Zanya's or Demonic Embrace 3rd. Take Aerie for the Keystone rune with Mana Flow, Transcendence, and Scorch, followed by Freeboots and Cosmic Insight for secondaries. Although Ziggs is not a traditional ADC, he's just way too good to pass up on right now when played in the bot lane carry role. Compared to traditional ADCs, Ziggs has a much easier time in lane, and he's much more self-sufficient as well. You rely way less stress on your support to be competent when playing Ziggs, because even if your support runs it down, you've still got the ability to farm from a very safe range with Ziggs Q. To escape low elo, you cannot rely on your team at all, and Ziggs is one of the best bot lane champs who can take matters into his own hands. A very effective strategy you can look to execute on when playing Ziggs is farming up to that lost chapter buy, immediately basing, and then using teleport back to acquire a huge advantage. You'll either force the enemy ADC to take a bad recall timer and lose farm under tower, or you'll have full control of the lane if they do not base. At this point, you can begin hemming the enemy under tower, poking away at them when they go for last hits, and chipping away at tower plates. You just gotta make sure that you got some vision down prior to playing super aggro, as Ziggs is vulnerable to ganks. The core build for Ziggs is Liandry's Rush into Archangel's 2nd and Shadow Flame or Zhonya's 3rd. You should be taking Comet for the Keystone Rune with Mana Flow, Transcendence, and Scorch. Optimal secondaries are Magical Footwear and Biscuits. An ADC who has become much stronger for the lower ranks due to some recent buffs is Jinx. The fact Jinx passive now stacks makes her mid to late game teamfight power incredibly strong. Low elo games will drag out longer and tend to be decided by those big 5v5 fights, so it gives Jinx a lot of value. Maining an ADC for the lower ranks who can teamfight well is very important, and Jinx is one of the best in that regard. In the lower ranks, we also see a ton of catch supports like Lux and Morgana who synergize amazing with Jinx. If a bind from one of those two champions lands, it's so easy for Jinx to line up her flame chompers and follow with a bunch of burst damage. The core build for Jinx is a Kraken Slayer or Stormrazor Rush into Infinity Edge 2nd and Fire Cannon or Hurricane 3rd. Stormrazor with Fire Cannon build is going to work best into squishier comps, while Kraken with Hurricane is better suited into tanks. Best Keystone Rune is Lethal Tempo with Presence of Mind, Bloodline, and Cutdown. Grab Absolute Focus and Gathering Storm for secondaries. Continuing with our trend of strong team-fighting bot lane carries, rounding out the top 3 for ADC is Miss Fortune. It's hard to find a meta to where Miss Fortune is not an optimal ADC for the lower ranks. MF is just so consistently powerful that if you don't have her in your champion pool for ADC, you're making things way more difficult for yourself than they should be. Of course, it's not as simple as this, and your team won't always play off your R cooldown, but if you can try your best to only force fights when it's up, you're going to put yourself in the best position to succeed. Pinging out your R cooldown and letting your team know when it's available is something that should become a habit when playing Miss Fortune. Most other ADCs are not super reliant on their ultimate, but MF is 10 times the champion when hers is available. Miss Fortune is so easy to play mechanically because so much of her damage is front-loaded. You don't need to be a mechanical genius to make MF work, which gives her a ton of value for low elo. You build lethality on MF so her Q is going to hit extremely hard when you pick up that Ghost Blade. Second item is the Collector, and then you should run Cyrilda's Grudge 3rd. The Rune Page is first strike with Free Boots, Biscuits, and Cosmic Insight, followed by Absolute Focus and Gathering Storm for secondaries. Recent buffs that have amplified the scaling power of Brand make him a very attractive low elo pickup for support. What's actually working best now as a result of the scaling buff to E is maxing the ability out second. In previous patches, most Brand players would max Q second, but it makes way more sense to go E instead now. Not only was the damage buffed on E, but it's just more guaranteed damage in general, being a point-and-click spell, which is more valuable for the lower ranks. In a bunched-up team fight in the mid-game, hitting your Q really doesn't even matter. Missing W isn't even that big of a deal either, as long as you can get your R off, have it chained to multiple targets, and follow up with your E. In theory, Brand is a more mechanical support than most, but the fact is, landing his skill shots is not even required to see good results on the pick. This makes Brand a champ you can pick up and see good results with right away, while still having a lot of room to improve over time. Optimal core build for Brand is the Liandry's Rush into Rylai's 2nd and Demonic Embrace or Zhonya's 3rd. It's Dark Harvest for the Keystone Rune, with Taste of Blood, Eyeball Collection, and Treasure Hunter. Mana Flow and Scorch are the best secondaries. If you're someone who queues for support and jungle, Morgana should most definitely be in your champion pool right now. Morg is absolutely incredible for both roles in the lower ranks and works so well for support to counter all the melee hook champions that are played at very high rates. Having ADCs in meta who can very easily follow up on your Q also gives Morgana a ton of value right now. In Silver Elo, the most popular ADCs are Kai'Sa, Ezreal, Caitlyn, Jinx, and Miss Fortune, who all have the ability to strike from long range. Morgana's pick power with Q is what makes her so great for low elo. If you can control vision around objectives and wait patiently in the fog of war, catching out enemies as they walk in alone to try and contest objectives is so easy for Morg to punish. This is where you can really see your rank skyrocket on someone like Morg, because teams are way less coordinated in the lower ranks, constantly split pushing from each other, and Morg can capitalize on that better than most supports. The build for Morgana consists of a Liandry's Rush into Zhonya's 2nd and Rylai's 3rd. Comet and Glacial Augment are both viable keystone runes for Morgana. If you want more peel power, then Glacial is the way, while if you want to be more aggressive in lane and have your poke with W stick, stick more, Comet is the play. Another great carry support that you really cannot go wrong with for lower ranks is Zyra. Zyra and Brand have very similar strengths as they both are phenomenal teamfight supports that have incredible DPS potential. Zyra's catch power is a little stronger though and has the ability to lock down a target for an extended duration. Level 6 Spike is what you should be focused on playing around with Zyra, as she can deal incredible damage with her full combo. Fishing for E's when the enemy ADC is going for last hits, and then following up with your R when an E does hit will be the game plan when you hit level 6. This is something you really want to try and nail down as quick as possible on Zyra, as using your skill shots when the enemy ADC is trying to last hit a minion, and especially a cannon minion, will drastically increase your skill shot hit rate. Setting up around objectives well before they spawn is also really important on Zyra, as getting as many seeds down from her passive as possible around that objective will drastically increase your teamfight power. Liandry's Rush into Rylai's second and Demonic Embrace or Zanya's third is the core build for Zyra. Run Comet for the Keystone Rune with Mana Flow, Transcendence, and Scorch, while Taste of Blood and Relentless Hunter work great for secondaries. Alright guys, before we wrap this up, let's tell you a little more about SkillCapped. So, we offer a 5-division rank up guarantee, and think that's a pretty crazy thing to offer. It's like a gym membership guaranteeing you'll get ripped. Your local gym would go bust if they offered that, right? Not us. We've offered this for years because our service really does work. It works so well, in fact, that we're able to produce by far the largest catalog of premium league guides on the internet. We add over 20 videos a week, with over 1,600 guides curated into over 100 courses no one can compare. We've also sent Challenger players into ELO Hell 714 times and counting, where they commentate how to carry live. They also respond to all questions asked. Sign up today for as little as $6.99 a month if you are serious about improving. So that's going to wrap up everything for our latest update on the best champions to escape low elo. Thanks for watching everyone, good luck with your rank climbs, and we'll see you back soon.